Hey guys, welcome back to Ghost Stories Told from the South. I am your co-host Lexi, and this is your host.
Dear old dad, Stephen Joe Booth, ladies and gentlemen.
Hoped you guys enjoyed last week's episode. We really enjoyed making it and stuff and researching it. It was really fun. This week, I have two stories on asylums, like abandoned asylums and stuff. And my dad has one on an asylum.
I got one on asylum too. It was just kind of weird. We didn't mean to plan it this way at all. We just kind of was going over notes before the show, and I was like, well, no, a couple of days ago, I was like, we go over our notes on stuff and go over our notes and stuff a lot, and we was comparing notes, and we was like, oh God, we got like, you did this all at St. Asylums too? I'm like, yeah.
And then we ended up doing the same one.
Yeah, so I'm doing this. Yeah.
But I am ready to let him do it because he knows more about it than I do.
But we're gonna talk about that. It's an insane asylum in Wichita Falls. The only reason I kind of wanted to do it too, when I was a kid growing up, I was born in Wichita Falls, and my dad used to always tell me that's where they picked me up at, the old insane asylum. But the second story I'm doing is called The Killing Fields. So, and there's a movie on Netflix about. I should have watched before I did this, but.
Oh, there's a movie about it?
Yes, they made a movie about it.
We gotta watch that.
Yes, it's. If you was a kid in the '80s, or grew up in the '80s at all, no matter your age, you probably remember the Killing Fields of Texas murders and all that stuff because it was popular. It's just creepy because it's a spot on I-45 on the stretch of highway where just shit happens. You know what's scary is when I was hot shotting all the time, driving all over Texas, delivering shit, I used to go up and down 45 all the time. That's scary, knowing that I was that close to that creepy crap.
Well,
but anyways,
nothing happened to you.
Oh, I know, because I'd get out and have a cigarette, or get out, to wake up or something at some of them little small towns, and yeah, it's weird when you go somewhere and then you find out that, oh man, there creepy stuff happened there, and it's like, oh God.
Okay, well, I think that we will get started. Do you want me to go first? Or... Okay, I will go first. I'm going to be doing Yorktown Memorial Hospital. It's located in Yorktown, Texas. So technically this story is in the South. If you were listening last week, I did some that were not exactly in the South. I kind of ventured off. So this one is actually in the South this time, folks. So
yeah, I've been telling her she needs to stick to the South stuff, but she's like, I like these stories too.
Yeah, I kind of.
But it was California, and the other one was Colorado. So California's not really a Yankee state; it's a Yankee hippie state, I guess you could call it.
Okay, this one, you just gotta bear with me. I don't have too much information on the history, and I'm not really sure about a lot of it. But I do have a lot of ghost stuff. So let me do the history first, like always, so we can get the background. And then we will get on to the ghost stuff. So
Scoobity boop boop doo pop.
So it's Yorktown Memorial Hospital, and it's located in Yorktown, Texas. And it's abandoned. I found some stuff saying that it was abandoned, and then some other stuff saying it was open, but I'm pretty sure it's abandoned.
Yeah, it's abandoned now. Yeah. I've seen a show on it. Now it's abandoned, but...
Yeah, because I would say I saw pictures and stuff of it, and it's run down.
And it's one of them hospitals that's way out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
That Yorktown, Texas, it's a little rinky-dink town. It's small.
Yeah. Okay, so it was originally founded by the religious group known as the Falcon Sisters, and I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. I really hope I am.
The Falcon Sisters?
And they were a part of the Roman Catholic Church in the 1950s. So it was around the 1950s when this was founded and stuff, And it originally served as a rehabilitation center for those suffering from drug and alcohol abuse. So it was, to get back on your feet if you're having trouble with that. And it eventually closed in the 1980s. And the structure was abandoned. So, And this is the part that confused me because it said it opened in the 1950s and then closed in the 1980s. And then it said that the building was 150 years old. I don't really understand that.
Say that again now.
I said
I wasn't paying too much attention. I was sorry. I was clicking with some of the sound stuff real quick.
it said that it was like founded and stuff in the 1950s, but it closed in the 1980s. But they said that it's like 150 years old. So I don't know.
Well, it was an insane asylum first, wasn't it?
No, it was like a drug and alcohol rehab center.
Oh, and then it went to a insane asylum.
Kind of, yeah. It was like back and forth, a little bit of both.
But it never did say when it was first built or anything?
Like I said, the history on it kind of doesn't really exist.
That's weird.
It's weird. It's kind of like one of the ones I did last week. It's weird.
And that is weird, you know. There's some stuff that's hard to get research on. It's like I try to get a lot of stories, folk stories, you know, for the show about the, you know, especially Palapenna County or Mineral Wells. It's freaking hard.
Yeah, you can get like a handful of information.
Yeah, I guess I might have to go to a local bookstore and find some. Hey, that's what we can do one time. Find some books and get some stories out of them.
Yeah.
Get some Mineral Wells books up in here. Carry on.
So I did find some stuff out about like how the name came. I guess the name came, I guess, because of World War II. They were like trying to keep it like the Memorial Hospital because of all the people that died in World War II.
Oh yeah.
And then this is also the part that confused me. So I guess that the insane asylum part was open and going on and stuff until 1986. And then after that, it was closed and stuff. And then they reopened it for like a 6-year period for drug and rehab.
Made another. I guess you call it like a halfway house. No, yeah,
kind of.
Just you're not coming out of prison, I guess.
And it was like open for like a 6-year span after it closed and got rid of all the mentally insane patients and everything like that. So, yeah, it just kind of confused me on that because I was like,
that is weird.
That's really like not common that they do that.
Yeah.
But they saw like 500 patients over that 6-year period when it was a drug and rehab house. So, yeah. Yeah, because it opened, because it closed so, sorry. I was making sure that I checked my facts right so I didn't, like, get in trouble or anything. The building is about 30,000 square feet.
That's a huge building.
Yeah, and it includes a basement and 2 wings on, like, each side.
Dang.
And it's about 2,000 people have died there, so obviously there's some
that's
stuff
why there's so
going on.
much room.
Yeah. The second floor that they have there was only, I guess, when it was an insane asylum, it was for the people that worked there, so they didn't have to like go back and forth. Because, like you said, it was in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
So and then when it was a rehab center, no one wanted to work there. Like the employment was really, really hard to find. It really didn't exist.
That's weird.
Yeah, and I guess because like they didn't want to work at like an old insane asylum, I guess.
I don't know if I would. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had to. I mean, if there was nothing else to do and I had to provide for my family.
Yeah.
I'd work with Freddy Krueger, I guess, if I had to.
Yeah. So that's all I could really find on the history. Like I said, I really couldn't find that much, and what I did find is really confusing, and I really didn't understand some of it.
Why?
Just because I really didn't understand like what it was before, or like the whole, like if it was an insane asylum before or after the closing period, or this or that, or the drug/rehab house or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it just confused me because it wasn't specific.
Oh yeah.
So
yes, I've noticed that too. Looking up a lot of that stuff. A lot of stuff it's not told. They might tell the ghost stories or tell a little bit of the background, but there's a lot of the history is not there, and it's weird.
Yeah, but I have some of like the doctors and some of the patients and stuff that I got written down, and like you can tell some stuff happened to them because they're very violent to people. So one of the doctors, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce her last name because I cannot do it, but it's Dr. Leon. He practiced medicine until the 90s, and he was the main medicine person there, like the main doctor.
Yeah.
and he was the first person to like have the medical license in Texas, like the longest.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And then he came known for having fatal mistakes happen in his OR and accidentally, like, killing patients.
Be like, oops, sorry, didn't mean to kill you.
Well, like, cause he was doing a thyroid surgery and he accidentally slit the patient's throat.
What a dumbass. How,
Like,
wow.
how do you do that?
Yeah.
Like, you fall, cut it, like, I don't.
You know, you're supposed to be like a doctor that's good with your hands. That's why you make the kind of money you do.
You have to have steady hands.
Well, apparently his weren't steady.
No, I don't. Yeah, that one just really messed me up. I was like, how many people has he killed from that?
I accidentally slit your throat. I'm so sorry.
And then this one's a little sad. There's a girl named Stacy. She's a little girl, and she interacts with a lot of the guests, or I say guests, but like a lot of the people that go like in there, or I try to and stuff.
Yeah.
And she goes to her old room and the first floor and the basement and the library because she got read there, like read books and stuff. And she rolls balls around and stuff for people to play with her.
She just wants to play.
I know, it's kind of sad.
That is sad. Well, because, I mean, think about it. You're a ghost and you're a kid and you don't know any better. You don't know you're dead.
I know, you're like just trapped in this like alternate
That's
dimension.
sad. I mean, that's sad with anybody that gets, they don't know to go on and they just get stuck here.
Yeah. And then the Pelican sisters that I told you about at the beginning that like originally I guess like found the thing after it became like that was confusing too. One of the founders, I guess. Because they were nuns and they died. They didn't know how they died or anything, but they died. And you would think they would be nice. They are like the most violent ghosts there.
Oh my God. Maybe they were violent people.
They have choked, scratched, like charged at people. And they are also bad at like just like stuff like that, just like threatening people, like scaring them. Not like your normal ghost stuff, like demon stuff. It's really weird, especially because they're nuns. Like you would think that they would not do that, but they're just like, I want to be mean.
Yes.
That's not normal. And then there's this guy, Doug Richards. He was a heavy equipment mechanic, and he died there in the 1990s. And he just roams, like, the rooms and the halls and stuff. And people say that he has, like, a really tall appearance, and he's, like, in a white shirt and blue jeans and stuff like that. Kind of like the work stuff back then.
Yeah.
So.
And the maintenance jumpies.
Yeah. So, it didn't say how he died or anything. Like, none of these people say, but just stuck and can't get out, I guess.
That's crazy.
At least this one doesn't, like, try to choke people and stuff.
Yeah, that's not cool, the violent ghost.
I know. I can't get over that one.
Could you imagine if you're sitting there and all...
Yeah, that's weird. Just
getting scratched or something.
I would not like that. There's this guy, TJ. I guess he was when it was a drug and alcohol rehab center.
Yeah.
He was going there because he needed help. I guess he had taken a bunch of pills or something. Like he was having an overdose or something. I don't know really. It doesn't really say. But he knocked on their front door or back door or something. I knocked on the door, and the night nurse or whoever was in charge that night didn't answer it. And they woke up the next morning and he was dead on the by the front door or the door.
Oh Lord.
And so now they say that he lingers around the door he died.
Oh gosh, yeah, he's still trying to get in.
Yeah, like you guys didn't help me, baby.
You didn't help me. Let me in.
Yeah, so that's
that sucked to go that way too, man.
Like
gasping for your last,
help.
and you're like.
Yeah, that's really. And then this one, it was when it was a insane asylum. So this was an old one. It's a double homicide.
Yes, double homicide. Love it. I love it.
It was a love triangle between a female employee, a coworker, and a patient.
Lovely.
Or it was like a nurse and a patient. Like,
yeah.
Like that part is a little confused. Like it wasn't for sure on that part, but everything else was like stated like true facts. one of the women got caught in the boiler room with one of the other people, and the other one of the others reacted violently because it was the love triangle. So like two of them were doing
Oh.
something, and the other one walked in
And caught him.
and caught him, and that person reacted like really violently.
Okay.
And so that person that found them stabbed one of the women several times, and she like died, obviously. And the man,
I loved you.
yeah, and the man, I don't know who he was. I don't know which one he was that they said he was, but the guy or whatever, and the woman, they were fighting over the knife and stuff, and one of them had gotten the knife, and one of them had stabbed the other to death,
Oh my gosh.
like the attacker to death.
That's
and
crazy.
I guess I don't know if that one's the last part of this is true, but I guess there's like blood splatters all over the wall still. And I guess as people go in there and they can see it and stuff, and like you can feel
Lovely.
it and
Yeah.
everything, like, so
Uh,
that's why you don't try to get with your patients
yeah.
or date at work.
Yeah.
Jeez, I know I read that and I was like,
Well, it's like the
What?
old saying, you know, you don't shit where you eat.
yeah. Ugh. This is like some past evidence and stuff about like ghosts and everything. It's obviously home to a bunch of spirits, 2,000 people died there, homicide, all this other stuff. Obviously, a lot of people or ghosts are there. There's like orbs, shadowed men. It's a hot spot
Hot
for like
Hot spot. Pot spot.
for the ghost, like EVPs and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And then the old ER and OR room.
The OG.
The shadows all go in there a lot. I guess
Oh,
because
man.
like that guy that would
Yeah.
like accidentally kill his patients in the,
I'm sorry I cut your husband's throat while operating on him.
Yeah.
I had a rough night last night, drinking. My hands were
don't-
shaking. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't.
I'll buy you another husband. It's no big deal.
And I never find anything on him. Like I was wondering like what happened to his medical license or anything, and nothing happened. I was
That's
like,
weird.
What? And then I guess they had like a labor and delivery room.
Oh, yeah.
And there's
Oh.
screams and stuff that can be heard from there too.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. So I don't know what about this stuff is when I guess most of this is whenever it was
Yeah.
the asylum. But that's all I have. Like I said, the history is kind of like not really there, like it doesn't really exist. But I tried to find as much as I could.
Well, that's good. That was a good little bit of a story right there.
Yeah, I mean, I
Especially
like
them
it.
oldest and them asylums like that, because I seen I can't remember which investigating show it was. It was one of them ghost investigating shows. And they covered Yorktown, that hospital / insane asylum. And man, they found some pretty weird shit in there.
Yeah.
Some people get scratched. I mean, just hearing oh man.
Well, the thing I can't get over is the nuns. Like you would
Yes,
think they
you
would
think
be
the
like,
nuns would be would be a little nasty. I mean, try to say meant to be. You think they'd be nice?
yeah, and they're like, no, and they
Get
choke
away
people
from me.
and everything else. Like,
Maybe they were really a-holes in real life.
I don't know. Maybe I don't like because, like I said, the history I can't find anything.
See, and that's weird with a lot of this. It's just like with that camp story down, outside of Brownsville. I told
It's like a
that
cover.
legend. It's like a cover-up. I mean, but why else would you hear kids' voices at night? Sometimes little girls' voices screaming, saying "Help me!" And why is it abandoned?
Yeah.
And why can't you find anything out on it?
Yep.
That makes you believe: is it urban legend? Is it real?
Mhm.
That's what I
Yeah.
like about it, because you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. at all.
Well, I guess it's my turd.
Ew.
I think what I might do first, since she did Asylum, I'm going to go ahead and do the Killing Fields of Texas. I don't know if y'all remember this. I mean, a lot of y'all do. I mean, I hope some of y'all remember, but in the 80s, I remember it as a kid being all over the TV, but there's started, I think, a string of killings or something up and down 45. And that's how it's all kind of not really started, because I did my research and stuff on it, and about the in the 1970s. That's when they start. About 1970s on 45. That's when they started calling this little patch of it's space on 45. The killing fields. It was shoot. They found I think so far the count there they found close to 30 bodies or a little bit more.
Yeah.
Since like the 70s. It's just like a haven for people to go kill people and crap. It's but it's like I said, in the 70s, that's when it kind of started getting the name the killing fields, because the murders started happening in the in a lot. I mean, there's some of them that are mixed. There's some of them that are mixed that are like out of, not from the area, because it's around League City where all this is. And not all of them were from there, but some of them were. So, I mean, there were girls getting taken from there. And there was girls, like, if they caught them on 45 at the gas station and stuff, they'd, lure them in the car and go fucking kill them.
But was it all girls?
Yeah, all the girls. They were all girls, and they aged from ages 12 to 25. And the cops, thought it might have been a serial killer doing it, because some of the girls' photos, they looked identical. They had the same style of haircut or the same color, or.
Well, good thing you're not a girl.
Yeah. But yeah, they girls were 12 to 25. They said a few of the like murders and stuff have been solved, but not a whole lot. And I didn't know this either until I did research on it. There's a movie on Netflix y'all need to check out. I'll check it out too, called The Killing Fields. And it's based on that story, The Legend of I-45. But it's crazy. I can't remember what they call the little spot of land around League City, but it's an old oil patch. And I can't remember the acreage, but yeah, man, you can go out there and it's in the middle of the nowhere. And they say that the saying is for that place that if you want to kill someone and get away with it, that's the place to go and do it. I'm like, oh my God.
Why would you put that out there?
Yeah, but like travelers and stuff have reported, seeing a ghost on the side of the road. Not there.
Really, look at all those old women. Look at all those women that died.
Yeah. Guys they'll see somebody or women and go to stop their car, and then they look back and the freaking person's gone or something. I mean,
I don't like
that's
that.
just creepy, man. And I used to go up and down 45 all the time going to Houston, because it's right around League City, and League City's pretty close to Houston.
I don't like that.
Because down there, you got outside, it's pine trees and oil fields and shit.
Did it say like what kind of girls they would supposedly kill?
What do you mean?
Like, because you said they all look the same. Like, you know what they look like?
Oh shit! What the? The computer. Oh, there we go.
Technical difficulty. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry if I said a curse word. Okay.
Like I said, we're still new at this.
Yeah, well, the screen went blank, and when I went to bring the screen back up, it made it look like we weren't recording anymore, and I was like, oh crap. But anyways, yeah, it's a creepy stretch of highway. But I remember in the 80s as a kid, it being all over the news, because there was this one guy that was like committing all these murders. I think he really only did one or two. But he was committing to a lot of the murders, and a lot of people thought he was doing it for publicity and all this and that. But he was a strange character. He fit the part, But that's what they would do. They'd, see even girls traveling in it. They fit the description, or that was one they wanted. They'd go do whatever, go get them and talk them out there in the field or whatever, and whack them, kill them.
Jeez.
Yeah.
What if it was a ghost that was killing everybody?
Oh, that'd be even crazier.
Maybe that's why they can't actually catch the guy.
Or, what if it's been the same person all along? Wouldn't that have been crazy?
How would you get away with that?
Yeah. But they say that it's just the whole thing's weird, because there's so many girls that come up missing from that area, and from around Texas, because 45 is a big interstate in Texas. So not just the girls from that area get taken. Girls will stop, at the gas station on a trip or something and get taken. Yeah, and just fucking disappear, man. That's crazy. From the 70s till now, they found like a little bit over 30 bodies.
That's only the ones they have found. That's not
Yeah, that's
counting
not
the
telling, you
like,
know. And that's what they said. That's ones they found and identified. That's not counting all the other missing girls from that area or from the state of Texas that they have no idea what happened to them.
that's weird.
Yeah.
Talk about unsolved murder.
Yeah, and that's what I said. That's what's so crazy. I used to drive up and down 45 all the time. I'd stop at some of them small little crap towns to get gas or just to pull over and stretch or something. You know, it'd be 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And I'm out there by myself just chilling, stretching out, not knowing that I was around some crap like that. But, yeah.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
So, yeah, and just think you went down 45 and you went to Houston.
Oh my god, I did.
Yeah.
I don't know my way around. I
Yeah,
don't know my roads. Ew. We're not going to Houston ever again. I don't want to drive.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I'm driving or not. I can be yanked out of the vehicle.
I ain't getting gas.
If someone else do it, I'll lock my car. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna go ahead and go on with my next story. So, my next story is about the abandoned asylum in San Antonio, Texas. There's like 3 names for it. People call it that, or like the Texas State Lunatic Asylum, or the San Antonio State Hospital. So, it's kind of just like whatever you want to call it. You just like go by it, because like I said, everyone kind of goes by it on its own. Oh, excuse me, sorry, I had a yawn.
She stayed up too late last night. She had a kegger.
No, I didn't. I was at my friend's house.
Yeah, she was at her friend's having a big old keg party, having seances.
Oh my gosh, shush. So, I have a lot of history on this, and pretty good ghost stuff too. So, as always, we'll jump
creep
in.
us out, man. Make us pee-pee on our britches.
So, as of right now, it is owned by the county, and it is a trespassing fine if you try to get into it. And there is a police officer guarding it at all times.
And where's this one again now?
San Antonio.
Oh, man. Is it, like, huge?
It is, or
Whoa.
it was at least whenever it was built on a land of 640 acres, and it held up originally up to 500 patients.
Ooh, that's pretty big.
And it was sufficient, and it had like their own village with crops and livestock and the lake. So like it had everything. They didn't have to go out into town or
Wow,
anything.
that's crazy.
But it was like opened or anything. It was open and stuff in 1961 originally, and that's whenever the doctor admitted at least 12 patients and stuff. But it wasn't actually like established and like ready to actually truly admit people until like April 6th, 1892. So, yeah. But, like I said, it was built on all that land originally, but they had to add a lot more, I almost said buildings, kind of buildings. They had to add, not exactly like buildings, but like, how would you word it? They had to,
What are you trying to say?
add
man?
on. They had to add on to it.
Yeah, add
because
on,
they had to
yeah.
eventually house like up to like 2,000 patients or more. So they had to, make money. Not make money.
Make money,
They had
money,
to
make money,
room.
money.
So yeah. And I know in like 1912 they were able to hold 1,140 patients. So it was all getting there and getting built and stuff, and it was opened 1961. So that's when everything like
Came together.
came together. So yeah.
That's when they finally opened the doors.
Yeah. They tried putting patients in and stuff like before 1961, and within there, because of like within that time they had exceeded beds and exceeded patients. They had more patients than they had beds, and they had to like I said, add more buildings. They ended up adding 5 more buildings, so it was like this huge community.
So they started just with one huge building and they just kept adding on.
And this was all in between 1892 and 1961.
Jeez.
Trying to get the facility together and running fully before.
Well, I guess it'd take that long if you're trying to be self-sufficient, because think about it.
Yeah.
You'd have to make room enough for your livestock, room enough for your crops. You'd have to have storage, for stuff. Yeah, that makes sense. It'd take that long. You're basically making a town, making a community.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yup. So they went over capacity so much they had it. Like I said, they ended up having to add more buildings, so they were at capacity again at 2,000 patients. So that's kind of like when you have that many people, although it was like their own village, they weren't, I guess, able to like treat everybody. And asylums back then weren't the greatest.
No,
like they're not called
well,
asylums now, but like I mean, they're way better.
Well,
than what
they
were
didn't
then.
know, and they was trying to do anything to fix it, so they would do anything.
Yeah,
man.
they would
brutal.
just electrical shock, this
lobotomies.
Yeah, crazy surgeries and everything else. Like patients would literally run around naked, covered in like feces, and that's like, and not being able to get showers and stuff. That's not counting like the mentally. I don't want to say retarded. That's reading.
Mentally
disabled.
Disabled, yeah.
Even though it's what they called it back then, but like the mentally disabled people, or like kids or whatever, like not counting those people that actually needed help, because it was so overrun and so over capacity that they had like there was not enough staff, so people were getting malnourished and stuff and like that, and then. The people that had like seizures and stuff and actual mental problems like depression and this and that, they were considered overwrought, like and overrun.
Oh, overrun.
Overwrought. I don't know what they mean by overwrought, but like overrun and mentally unstable.
They was basically overran with patients, is what you're saying.
And instead of putting people in asylums, people they thought were too crazy went to jail. They put over at least 700 people in jail across the state because they just decided that
we ain't got no more room in his loony bin. Well, back then there probably wasn't a lot of them places either.
Mm-mm.
And when they built them, like you said, they had to build them huge. So
yeah, well, like is that one? Like I said, it was pretty much its own village. They didn't have to go do anything. Yeah. And it was all, like white people. I don't want to like be racist or be mean.
You're being mean, man.
But the first African American person wasn't admitted until 1964.
Jeez.
So
I didn't think, man, they were racist against people in the insane asylums, I guess, too.
Yeah.
Well, I guess so. If you're racist,
I mean, look at American Horror Story.
I mean, if you're racist and won't let them come eat by you, you know.
And then the first member of the staff around that time was African American. So when they let a patient in, they had to let a staff member in that was African American.
Yeah. Which is retarded. They should just fucking let them in anyway. Jesus.
And then nearby clinics started opening up and stuff. Kind of like, I think like around like 1980 or something like that. So it reduced a lot. It reduced the population in there by like 1,800 in the hospital. So it like really made stuff not so cramped.
It's really not cramped. It's just my cramp.
But it didn't help. Like, I mean, people were still mistreated and stuff. Like, it was still bad. But that's pretty much like all I have on the history. I have ghost stuff.
Ooh, what's happened? Has anybody got hit in the...
I have some I have some stuff written down about how people were mistreated.
I got some PP.
Jeez. So there are some things that people were here and there. I guess before there was like people like actually patrolling it and stuff, and I didn't understand why they do that. Like it wasn't said or anything. But I guess before that people were actually able to like go into it.
Oh, you can't go into it now?
Not now. There's like a cop patrolling it at all times.
See, and that's stupid. You know, even if the state owns it, places like that you can make money off of. You
Ghost
could just
tours.
Yes, you could go charge people to go in there. You know, go in there and make sure it's safe for people to go in and, you know, congregate and
unless it's not safe, because by the looks of everything, it's been there since like the 1890s.
That's true too. And how long has it been abandoned, just sitting there?
it didn't say when it closed, but the clinics and stuff started opening up in like the 1980s. So it probably like around then.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure why cop patrols it.
It might just be it might be too old of a building and they don't want no one any getting hurt.
True.
That or they might be covering something up. You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
But that's for another podcast.
But I guess before it got like, for people couldn't go in there.
Yeah.
People would hear like screaming and moaning, and the doors would open and close, and stuff, and you know, like that. Just kind of like your normal kind of ghost stuff, but you could hear like the torment of people that were in there before. It was really sad. I have a couple people written here of like what happened. So we're gonna talk about those. So this one guy, his name was William Brown. He was incarcerated at the hospital, and he was held there for 12 years. That is a long time in the hospital.
Dang.
And he was there for being a heavyweight drinker, for being an alcoholic.
Yeah, they call it heavyweight drinking.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. The heavyweight drinker of the world.
And he was like, his dad and his family was wealthy. Well, his dad died, and he was supposed to get like his inheritance, and his siblings were like, "You're not getting it because you're gonna spend it all on booze." So they locked him in there.
That's messed up.
And so,
well, they had the money to do it apparently. So
yeah, well, and then he got out, and like the day he got out, he went after their money. So somebody killed him. And they think that it was his siblings because they found him. They found him floating alongside the Mexican side of the Rio Grande River.
Dang! His family said, "See what money does to people."
Yeah, but apparently his ghost is like lingering there because it's like where he lived for 12 years.
Yeah.
Even though he was like tortured and whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then this other guy named Stephen Aldridge. He's a veteran of World War II, and he spent 3 months in there in 1944.
Dang.
He had a bad heart, a really, really bad heart condition. It didn't say what.
It was a black heart.
He tried to get into the veterans hospital, but they wouldn't let him get in there. They didn't say why, but like he just couldn't get in there. So his last resort was this place. He didn't want to go there because of all the stories, but that was his last resort.
Damn.
So he committed himself in there as a last resort, and then the insane people in there, they declared him as insane, and they like try to like beat him up and stuff. But the doctors walked by as an incident was happening, and he was like, "Oh, he's not insane, so you can stop."
Wow.
Like somebody pinned, like I guess, they like, I don't want to say like pinned, but they like threw him in a chair or something like that, and the doctor walked by and saw them holding him down, and they were like, "Oh, he's not insane, you can stop," which only proved that they were torturing the insane, or what they called insane was people just with problems they didn't know how to like actually handle, so they beat him up. Yeah, that was. So, but yeah, so basically the insane, which he gathered, were just treated with really, really bad manner and beat and stuff like that. And they forced him to do stuff. They would try to force him to do stuff, and they would corner him and stuff, but then the doctors would be like, one of the main doctors would be like, "Oh, he's not insane, he doesn't have to do stuff," but then whenever he was gone, they would beat him up and do stuff to him.
Oh, God, they were like, he's, that's crazy.
And
the doctor's like, he's normal. You don't have to do. You don't have to beat him up. The doctor was pretty much
like, the crazies can be mistreated, but the regular, but you can't. You're fine.
Oh God! But after the doctor turned his back, they'd beat him up anyway.
Yeah. And there was a lot of deaths that happened that they just covered up. Like, in the last one, how he was having surgery, or that patient was having surgery, and the doctor accidentally cut his throat. Like, that was covered up. There's a lot of deaths in there that were just covered up. So, I, don't know.
Well, and back then, you could get away with a lot of that stuff, because back then, like I was telling you, when and that's what's so sad. When you were mentally disabled and stuff back then,
or had any sort of problems.
Especially if you had money, the family was so ashamed of it, they would ship you off to places like that and
that-
just leave
yeah.
you there.
Until you died or something.
Yeah, because they were so ashamed of you. That's how they treated the sickness back then. You were like, an outcast.
Yeah, which is really messed up.
That's freaking mean, man. Because they was jerks to them back then.
Yeah. And these next two are really weird because, okay, so, like, it was these normal people that would just go to these places and they weren't physically ill or anything. They were mentally ill. Like, they needed help. And they died. Like, one person died 11 days later. And there was no physical, like, illness. Like, he was physically healthy. And then one guy died 3 days later. But he was going in there because something mentally was wrong. Like, for depression or bipolar or something like that. But mysteriously, he died of a sickness.
Wow.
And hepatitis run through all these hospitals a lot. I have found that out. Hepatitis and AIDS and stuff like that.
Well, back then, they probably used the same needle. Like say they gave you medicine, they used the same needle for giving to this guy, and then there was probably, people were getting raped and having intercourse.
Yeah,
and not
I found that
wearing
out while
protection.
researching too. A lot of people were like raped and stuff like that. It's
Yeah,
sad.
and that's sad. They get thrown in these places, and not only are they mentally ill. Then they're mentally ill. Then they get taken advantage of and stuff in these places when they're supposed to be taken care of.
Yeah.
And then they get, raped and misused there. So.
Yeah, it's really sad. Well, and like this guy, he was a 76-year-old man, and he was beaten, and he was starved, and he was dehydrated, and he lost 30 pounds before he died. Like, he was all bones.
And that was a guy that was normal.
Yeah, they just want to do it for fun to see what would happen. Like, that's not like I don't understand.
It's just I don't know. I don't understand their reckoning and
like I mean like even back then because this was just like I think like
even
this stuff might have been like maybe like 30.
Well,
40
even in the
years ago.
'80s, they wasn't that nice to them. And in the '80s and the '90s, they weren't.
I'm so glad that I'm not in that, but like that's really sad though.
It is.
Yeah, the conditions in the hospital were so poor. Not the condition. Yeah, sorry. Let me restart. The conditions in the hospital were so poor that the people that were admitted, they called them on the march of death. Like, they were literally planning their death the second they walked in.
That's crazy.
Instead of helping them, they're like, oh, you're going to die because your family doesn't care about you.
Yeah, we're going to take their money and not do nothing for you.
And they had investigators come out to the hospital because of all this stuff happening, but nothing happened. Like, they couldn't find anything on it.
Yeah. Well, because in big corporations, not corporations, in big hospitals like that are a lot of state funded and state ran.
Yeah.
So they can hide stuff so much easier.
Yeah. And then they can hear unexplained voices and footsteps, door slamming and screams, and they can feel like being watched and stuff and like cold spots. And like I said about the other stuff people feel and experience is probably before it got shut down. Not shut down, but like
locked
not
up
able
where
to
you
go in
couldn't
there.
go. Yeah. If you go now, you probably need special.
Yeah, permission or something.
Yeah.
Well, and then I found something about it like being still runs, but the conditions are still like how it was back then. But then like I said, I saw about it being shut down too. So I'm pretty
What
sure
the
it's shut
heck?
down, but I'm also not
Yeah.
sure because the pictures on the internet are of a juvie boys' home like down the street.
Ah, yeah. Well, that's down the street.
Like they're not the pictures that they claim to be. So
Yeah.
I'm not totally sure if it's like open or closed, but I do know that like you can't just go in there and like be like, "Hey, are there ghosts?" because there's a cop at the door.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's pretty much all I have on this one. It's sad. I feel really awful about that one, but
Well, yeah, man. That's what they did back then. They stuck you in them places. Nah, who gives a crap?
yeah, I love exploring. I love like researching all this stuff, but that's the one thing I hate. It's so like sad and depressing.
I know when you find the stuff out, you're like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think it is your turn.
I got another one too. Mine's the White Sanatorium. Now, I need to look up the difference between a sanitarium and torium. Those are two different things. I was noticing that looking this stuff up.
Wait, they are?
Yeah, there's sanatorium and sanitarium.
Well,
Where's
I
your
have
phone? Google that shit up.
Well, I have sanitarium.
Yeah.
And you have, what do you have? Sanitarium.
Yeah, just ask them what is the difference between sanitarium and sanatorium.
Okay.
Anyways, while you're doing that, this is about the White Sanatorium in Wichita Falls, Texas. It was opened in 1926. Frank S. White ran the insane asylum, or in the asylum. He believed that his sanatorium should be like home, not like a prison, you know. So he would have, you know, like make it look like a house. He would have like couches there with the little coffee tables with your, you know, put your lamps on them, have a TV, and you know, that's how he tried to make the rec rooms and wanted the whole environment like that to give it a home environment for the guys, for the people there, so they wouldn't feel like, you know, they're in a prison or they're just in a shithole. So that was I thought he was pretty cool. That's pretty nice how he tried to bring the home aspect to it, and you know, make them feel at home. And but he ran it for 5 years until his physical health, you know, forced him to retire. So he basically had to retire because of old age. After he left, after he quit, or after he had to retire from the sanatorium, it had a number of directors after that. I mean, all the way up till the 50s, and it closed. It went closed in the 1950. After a big, there was a big old flood. They built in a low water place, and yeah, it flooded. What'd you find out?
They're the same thing.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, it says sanatorium and sanatorium are the same. They were both referred to a medical facility, which is specialty run for patients who are suffering from long-term illness. But it can also relate to a medical facility or they like store health records.
Ah.
So they are the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, figured that out. Well, anyways, it closed in 1950, and it had a numerous directors after that. But that one was, this one's pretty decent though. I mean, there's stories, but not nothing like that. There's not. I mean, there's not really stories about bad things happening to a lot of the patients, because the doctor was more on trying to make it a home life, not such a prison and a hospital.
Yeah, I read about that. He was like, I don't want to make it like.
Yeah, and he
that.
was
He
pretty
wants to
good
make it a
with them.
home.
And I mean, am I right though? There wasn't really many stories about patients being mistreated there.
Yeah.
You know, and that just goes to show you it's all about who
cares
ran them back
and
then,
stuff.
and who cared, and what their beliefs of science and stuff was. But yeah, it closed in 1950. If it didn't, well, it closed because of the flood. Apparently, there was a bad flood in 1950, and it flooded.
He wiped everything out.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
You built all of it, and then a flood happened, and you have to like say goodbye to
Yeah,
everything.
it'd be like, no.
I would be so mad.
But it is kind of cool though. People kind of refer to the song Hotel California to that place, because that one part in the song that welcome to the Hotel California, such a lovely place, or what you can check in but you can never leave. That part right there, to kind of refer it, you know, because after it closed and sat there vacant, I think in the 80s, especially in the 90s, and now it started becoming more of a, well, not now, but it was becoming more of a ghost hunter place, you know, for ghost investigations. And the local ghost stories are, you can see you can see like the, you know, a cigarette glowing, like the end of a cigarette, how red that red cherry is.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes some people say like at the end of the hallways you'll see like a red cherry, like somebody's smoking.
Like it just like floating.
Yeah, just floating, and there's no shadow of a body holding it or nothing. It's just that cherry. That's crazy. And then crazy, not crazy, but ghost, weird looking ghost in gowns, all creepy looking and stuff. Kinda. You know, I thought that was weird. I was like, creepy stuff in like they're in the hospital gowns.
Oh, I would have thought, since they were like.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, well, I thought he was trying to make it a home life. Why are they so mad? And then there's a woman in white.
She's in every story.
Oh,
What
I
the
know.
heck?
She walks the grounds, and sometimes you'll see her either if you're outside looking in, you'll see her looking at staring out the window, right at you, or if you're inside or something, and you look in a room. Sometimes the people said they've seen her just looking out the window, sitting there staring outside. Yeah.
Creepy.
And then, of course, they hear child's voices. And here's another thing: there's lights that come on in some of the rooms will come on with
And
lights.
there's no electricity.
And there's no electricity. There hasn't been electricity there for years. And and the ghosts playing cards when they go in the rec room. Sometimes they'll see ghosts playing cards, or if they go, there's been people driving by get calls about people sitting out and around the picnic table playing cards too, and like, just the clothes they wore back then. Kind of older clothes. Oh, and now it's some guy renovated it and made it like kind of like apartments or something.
Apartment complex.
Yeah,
Apartment
but from the
complex.
pictures and stuff I seen, it looked like he'll let you go in there and still do investigations and stuff.
That's cool.
I thought that was pretty cool because there was people sitting in there that looked like a house. I mean, but he's fixed it up. But think about it. Think of the money he made off that. That was a smart idea.
I'd enjoy that.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool that he did that because that'd be cool. That'd be another idea too. Maybe stand out up there and do a podcast.
Yeah.
And then what was so weird too, the local TV station tried to film a little episode there and talk about the hospital. They had their their battery packs would be charged. I mean, fully charged.
Yeah.
And they'd go in there and start cutting their start recording and stuff, and they'd run out of juice quick.
Yeah, it was weird.
And then some of the camera guys and some of the people on the crew would hear like kids' voices sometimes and just stuff like that. But there was nothing really
Dramatic
about that one. Even what you found out about it was just regular ghost stories.
like
There was nothing mean.
like nothing like the nuns attacking.
Oh,
people.
I know. But I guess, too, it just all depends on the environment you have. And apparently that guy had a pretty good environment with his patients. So.
Which is good though.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to be like that one place. Just fucking throw them in there because you don't want them to have their money.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot. Like sometimes even guys, if they wanted to, they got tired of their wife's crap and didn't want to leave them because they knew their wife would get half. They had money. They would say they was crazy and stick them in an asylum.
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Wow. That's sad.
Oh, I know. People are jerks. Well,
Jeez. Do you want to do one more story, or you want to go ahead and end it? This one's really short.
go ahead. Do a shorty.
Okay. This one is about the Spaghetti Warehouse
Go.
in Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Spaghetti.
It was built around the 20th century.
20th century spaghetti.
It used to be a warehouse and a pharmaceuticals warehouse.
Hey, did you mean whorehouse?
No, I meant to say
Waterhouse?
No. Warehouse.
Warehouse. Okay,
Warehouse,
I thought
not
you was trying to
whorehouse.
say whorehouse. I was like, they're called saloons.
No, sorry. Lexi can't talk today. The name that it was originally called, it was like Diesel Bohetcher. I'm not even gonna try to do that
Diesel
name.
Bowhitcher.
I'm butchering that name.
Let's go. I got a job at the Diesel Bowhitcher.
The
Warehouse Diesel Bowhitcher.
the spaghetti warehouse, they bought it from the original like owners or whatever in 1974. And it was originally furnished with a bunch of antiques. They cost millions of dollars. It had a full-size Houston Avenue trolley car, a chandelier from New York's Penn Station. Sorry, I thought that said something else. A grandfather clock from one of England's many castles. And it had 2 floors of dining. And it was I don't know if it still is, but it was the second to largest and second busiest restaurant in like the charts after the one in Columbia, Ohio. So, the kind of like the ghost story that kind of goes along with like the history.
Anybody die in it or anything?
I'm getting to that.
Oh, sorry.
There was
about
a
that.
young pharmacist that worked back when it was like a pharmacy warehouse. And he had a bunch of paperwork, and he was like, I'm going to go do it at home. So he took it through the elevator. Well, he didn't notice that the elevator shaft was like open because like the
What,
elevator.
an elevator?
Because you know how you have like the actual elevators, but then like the doors were still open, but like the box still like the, you know what I mean? How the shaft
Yeah.
would be there, like it was empty. You could like fall and die. So he wasn't paying attention. He was looking at his papers, and he went to go walk in the elevator. The elevator wasn't there. It was just like the emptiness, and he walked and he fell to his death.
Wow.
And then apparently, the elevator, I think, either fell on top of him after that, or he just got really mangled from falling down. So his wife was like wondering why he didn't come home, and she found his body at the restaurant and was
Hey.
like terrified. And then she died a year later after his death, like on the exact date.
That's crazy.
So now she and he both kind of haunt that place. They move furniture, they leave dishes and silverware in like disarray, like they mess it up all the time.
That'd be funny.
They tap guests on the shoulder and they pull their hair.
Oh my God, they sound like they're playing around more than anything. At least
There's
they're not slapping somebody. Maybe sitting there eating some spaghetti and pow! What the?
how's your spaghetti? There's floating objects sometimes, and they can like people see it easily getting put back down when they get caught.
God, imagine if you're sitting there enjoying some spaghetti and a couple glasses of wine, and you see something, you're like, "Am I drunk or is that real?"
And apparently the second floor is like the most haunted because it's like where he actually like died, technically fell to his death.
Dang. That would suck, man. Not paying attention and go to take a step to get on the elevator and
Yeah, that sucks. But
squash like a lip.
that's pretty much
And
all
then
I
just
found.
think if somebody was in the elevator because it was up top apparently. Think if it would have came down after he landed, nobody would have known to stop because they would have just freaking smushed him.
Yeah, because when I found him, he was all like mangled and stuff. So like I said, I don't know if it was because the elevator squished him
Well,
after
yeah,
that,
it might have.
or if it was from him like falling down on the wires and stuff.
Yeah, you never know. That's a hell of a way to go, man. No wonder he haunts that place.
He's like, yeah, how you enjoying that spaghetti? I died in here.
Yeah, enjoy this.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we have today, guys.
Well, it was fun. It was grand. It was groovy.
Hope you guys enjoyed it.
I know we did.
We're
Remember
gonna-
now, ghost stories told from the South, everybody. And hey, you know, if y'all listen to this, click the old subscribe button. Click that you like it. Keep subscribing to our show, guys.
Yes, please do
We
that.
like doing this. It's pretty cool.
I love it. And like I said, or we said, if you guys have any like comments or like I almost said suspicions.
Yeah, we'll have an email. Just send it to our email. We'll have it set up and give you all that information on the next episode because we're not going to cut any more episodes. We're going to start getting this one online and on Spotify maybe for old Lexi here, and this is her baby.
I'm excited.
She's so. Give her some subscribes and likes there, and remember, y'all go to Borderline Texas Trash. Check that one out too. And just want to give a shout out to all the spooky stuff. And remember, ghost stories told from the south.
From the south.
From the south, come and check us out. We're going to try to do one once a week. You got anything else there, Squirt?
Have a good Sunday.
See you later. Y'all stay safe out there on this Memorial Weekend. Don't be getting too drunk. Love you guys. See you later.
Bye.